My name is Alexis Maycock, and I am a blogger over at motherhoodmenageries.com. I also am the founder of Joy of Motherhood, that is just about parenting with intention and awareness. Over on my blog, I blog about reclaiming the joy of motherhood through positive parenting solutions and just, good old mom inspiration. So I'm so glad you're able to be here with me. If you're able to grab a little cup of something, I have my little drink here in my I Am Mom, What's Your Superpower? Because us moms are superheroes. And let's dive into this very, very huge and widely asked topic of toddler and behavior. I live in the North Dallas area in Texas with my husband and my two girls. I have a 3-year-old and I have a 12-year-old. So I have definitely been through the toddler mom life. I've been there, mamas, and I'm in there now with you in the trenches. And so I'm so glad that I have the opportunity for a few minutes to share with you on how I am handling toddler behavior and obedience. So just a little background. When I had my second child, my 3-year-old, I basically felt like I was starting over. It had been 9 years since I had a toddler, or 9 years since I had a newborn and an infant. And at the time, my husband was traveling a lot, and it was just a really stressful time. And I was kind of just feeling lackluster and losing that joy of motherhood that you feel when you're pregnant and when you hear that you're gonna have a baby. And I was kind of losing that. And so, as we all do, we jump on the internet, go to Google, and I began looking for some solutions, and I found positive parenting. And positive parenting is just a parenting style, but it differs with other parenting styles because it's truly focused on being intentional and being aware when it comes to your child. There's 5 principles. There's attachment, respect, proactive parenting, empathy, and positive discipline. And aligning these principles with how I raised my kids, specifically my toddler, gave me a sense of empowerment, and I want to give that to you mamas today. So let's jump right in. I know that there are days where you either saying help me in your head, you are frustrated, you are tired, you are overwhelmed, you don't want to yell, you don't want to nag, and these are kind of the go-to things that we do as toddler moms, right? Our toddlers throw a tantrum in the middle of the store or at home, and that's kind of our response, our reaction. But it leaves us feeling frustrated, it leaves us feeling overwhelmed, and it leaves us feeling not empowered in our role as a mom. And so what I found with positive parenting was a way to really kind of shift my frame around my toddler's behavior. And instead of trying to control my toddler, I found a way to kind of work on myself. And in turn, my toddler responded to that. And so I love me a good acronym. So the acronym that I came up with is TAME. A lot of times in the Facebook group or when I'm talking to moms on my social media, they tell me, I want to, how do I tame my toddler? How do I control my toddler? She screams, she'll just throw herself on the ground. She won't listen to me. And I decided, since we're all kind of in that focus of taming, I'm going to show you how to use that word tame, but in a positive and proactive way. So the first letter in the word tame is T, and that's for toddler. It is so important for us to understand, mamas, that we are dealing with toddlers. They've only been on the planet for 1, 2, 3, 4 years. And knowing where your child is at in terms of their development is key. When I realized that my toddler at this age of 3, that some of her child development milestones are communicating, minimal communicating because she's still learning how to speak. So when I discovered with my 3-year-old that getting frustrated easily, wanting to run everywhere, wanting to explore was all a part of her child development stage, it really increased my frustration level when she did those things because I realized that she was essentially being a toddler. And we have to remember, mamas, that we are teaching our kids, they're learning. They don't know how to sit still. They don't know how to not hit. They don't know how to yell. And so it's our job as they are learning to, instead of getting frustrated with them for being toddlers, we assist them and we redirect them and show them the way that they need to go. So there's so many resources. I know for me, I used what's called the Weeks app, and we use it a lot when our kids are infants. But it seems like for some reason, once our kids hit 1 year old, we're not hip on their child development anymore. When they were infants, we knew at 6 months what they were doing, at 9 months what they were doing, at 12 months what they were doing. But it seems like after they're 1 year old, we expect them to comply and to behave, and it's just not the case. So a way to really bring down that frustration level, mamas, is to know your toddler's age and stage. I call it the age and stage. So many resources, like I said, get on Google, so many books out there, and I share this in my Facebook community groups, and I'll also be sharing this in a 7-day challenge that I'm going to be talking about a little later on that you all can join in on. So the second letter, and I'm looking at my notes over here, is awareness. Eckhart Tolle says that awareness is the greatest agent for change. Once you have an awareness of your child's age and their child development and what occurs during that development, there is so much that you can do. You have so much power in that. So you can therefore come up with a plan. You can have empathy for your toddler. You can understand that a 2-year-old, it's hard for a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old to sit still for a long period of time when they have not done that before. It's hard for your toddler when they want to express themselves and they can't get the words out, so all they can do is cry or yell or scream. So it really opens up a place that's already there in our hearts, but it opens up that empathy, and it also helps us to learn how to respond instead of react to our toddlers. The next letter, M, is managing. So Webster's dictionary defines management as the process of dealing with or controlling things or people. So I want to ask you, take a second and think about this. What is your process for managing your toddler's obedience right now? Has your process been throwing a tantrum yourself? Crying, yelling? These aren't processes. These are all emotions. And we have to begin to look at our toddlers' tantrums in a very pragmatic way. I know many of you mamas work from home, many of you are stay at home, and maybe perhaps you were in the workforce before you stayed at home. Many of you mamas, like I said, work from home, or you're watching this at work. When you have a problem at work, there's no time for tantrum. You look at it, you see the problem, and you come up with a solution. So you want to take that same kind of thought process when it comes to your toddler's tantrum. So here is my toddler Malia. I was in my home office cleaning up, and I went to go and get something in the kitchen and come back, and she had taken every letter off of the keyboard. Every letter, every punctuation, everything. And I told her, no thank you, Malia. And of course she's, had a tantrum. She threw her head back, she kicked her legs out, she started screaming because she wanted to continue to play with the keyboard, and she wasn't understanding that this is not a toy. And what I had to do was, I already had my solution in my mind that whenever Malia has a temper tantrum, I know that I'm gonna stay calm, cool, and collected. I'm not gonna go into a tantrum with her. And so because I had a plan in place, I was able to respond to her instead of react. I was able to redirect her. I was able to take a breath after I redirected her, because I realized I was going to have to put together this keyboard, which is still to this day not put together yet. There's another time where she was playing, and it takes that one split second. You mamas know that. I went into another room to get something, came back, and she had taken poop out of her diaper, and she had smeared it all over the walls, all over the bed. She was rubbing it in like it was lotion on her face, and I wanted to die, really. But again, normally our reaction is, oh my God, oh my goodness, what are you doing? And I remembered in that split second, because I had been doing it so many times, how I needed to respond to her in that situation. So another way to help you to manage your toddler's obedience is your response. Your response, not reaction, your response, because guess what? They're watching us, mamas. And if we're telling them, don't have a tantrum, don't scream, don't yell, but we're screaming and yelling, they're seeing that. And so they're gonna mimic that same behavior. So another way to get your toddlers to obey is to lead by example. And then the last letter, which is E, which is expectations. And so there's a cliche, I'm sure you all have heard of this, that says insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And the cliche is true. If the way that you're handling your toddler's obedience and your reaction to your toddler when they're having a tantrum is the same, you're gonna get the same result. So I want to encourage you, and I know it's hard, I'm telling you, I have been there, but you have to open your mind to a new way of thinking, not the way that your mom or your dad parented you, not the way that maybe you see your friends handling their toddlers, but you need to find what works for you and what works for your toddler. And that takes a lot of intention and a lot of awareness. And that's why I want to stress to you all is that once you get your emotions calm and in control, you're better able to deal with the tantrum that's going on. So I want you mamas to remember that unrealistic expectations are what is causing you to feel stressed out and overwhelmed. I want you again to take a second and think about it. Any scenario that you've had in the past 24 hours with your toddler, when you have, the situation has calmed down, you've come out of it, was it actually the situation? Was it actually the toddler being a toddler that was causing your frustration, or was it your embarrassment? Was it you realizing, oh, you're gonna have to clean up another mess? Was it that the other moms are looking at you like you're crazy and you can't handle your child? If you think about it, everything is coming on you, not your child. And so I want you to realize that once you have realistic expectations of your toddler, and once again you have come up with a plan on how you're going to respond when your toddler behaves like that, you're gonna see a difference. And remember, mamas, it's not gonna happen overnight. Again, a lot of times I get moms telling me that they tried this solution or they tried that solution and it didn't work. Their toddler didn't listen. Rome wasn't built in a day, mamas. It's gonna take time. Remember, we are training, we are teaching these little ones, and you don't want to lose the joy in that process. At the end of the day, our babies love us. Even when we're having a struggling, a challenging day with my 3-year-old, and we both are in tears, at the end of the day, she comes up to me and she gives me the biggest hug and the biggest kiss, or when she says, Mama, and I just melt. Because they love us, and we are huge to them. We're superheroes to them. And so let's not allow the natural process and the natural challenges of being a mom and raising a toddler take that joy away from us. We don't do that with other things. We don't do that with the challenges of life we overcome. So I just want to tell you guys a couple of things before I wrap up. I am going to be doing a 7-day, what I call a TAME challenge. So if you said, okay, Alexis, I'm hearing what you're saying, I think I can apply this TAME challenging, but I really need some practical solutions and I don't have time here to kind of guide you through that. I would invite you to join my email list and subscribe, and it's going to be down here at the bottom. All the info will be down there, and this is going to be a 7-day challenge where I'm going to be sending you for 7 days a positive affirmation. I'm going to be sending you some practical solutions around TAME, toddler awareness managing expectations, and then I want to hear from you. I want to get feedback from you all. What do you think about this? Is it something that you can apply to your everyday? And if you're struggling, know that I'm here for you. All of my social media channels, again, will be linked down below. And yeah, that's it. So I want to thank you, a huge thank you to I Am Mom Summit for allowing me to come and to speak to you mamas today. I am so appreciative and glad to be a part of an organization that is all about empowering you mamas. I hope you have an amazing and wonderful day. Talk to you soon.